council comment.
Yeah. The meeting today, Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 for the Port of Bellingham. Just a roll call quickly. Commissioner Briscoe?
Here.
Commissioner Shepard? Here. Commissioner Bell is here. I'll start by reading the advisory committee schedules. The Marine Advisory Committee is April 16th at 6 p.m. in the Mount Baker Conference Room. That's here in the administrative office. Again, the MAC meeting, April 16th. Then the Bellingham International Airport Advisory Committee, the BIAC meeting, is April 18th. There's going to be a week full of meetings if you want to join. That one can be joined by Zoom, or you can meet at the ARF building for the in-person. Again, April 16th for the MAC and April 18th for the Airport Advisory Committee. Now we'd like to open the meeting for public comment. Anybody wishing to comment before the commission on any matter whatsoever, feel free. There is a sign-up sheet in the back if you haven't signed up. Did anybody sign up as far as we know? Feel free to come to the microphone, or feel free to raise your hand if you're Zooming in or online. We'll take public comment now. We do ask that anybody making public comment that you keep it respectful. And those of you in the audience listening, we do ask that you not applaud and not jeer. Leave everybody's opinion to the commission. That being said, anyone wishing to speak before the commission? We're not very popular today. All right, that being said, we'll go to the consent agenda.
Just a second.
Oh, sorry, that was on my list. Yeah, I'd like to give Commissioner Briscoe.
We've lost two fishermen, local fishermen here. One of them, Pete, I hope I pronounced his name right. It's the itch name, Ivisic. And then Jim Briscoe, lifetime fisherman and tenant here in Port Bellingham. So take a minute for those guys if we could. Thank you.
Sorry. Now we'll go to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Mr. Shepard, do you have?
Nope, all set.
Mr. Briscoe?
No discussion.
I just have a little discussion, and I'm not going to pull it from the agenda, but I just wanted to have, make note to the commissioners, just item F, and really the position we're in when we look at some of these things that are on the consent agenda. We're looking at increased pricing on just about everything coming in, and inflation's hitting us. So as we get to budget time and as we go through all of the stuff that we get hit with every request for something that costs money, but I can't imagine that any of our budget items are going to be going down in the coming year. It looks to me like if this is a trend that we've got inflation and we've got increased costs is heading our way, and I couldn't help but notice that and realize that that's going to take a chunk out of our budget. So I'm ever mindful of that, especially because we have limited resources anymore. So that's my only comment.
That's why we need that terminal working.
That's why we need the terminal working. That's a correct statement. Carrie?
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Commissioner Briscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Shepard?
Also yes.
And I am a yes. All right, presentation, Marina's update. Tiff?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tiffany D. Simone, Director of Maritime. I will apologize for the length of this presentation. I try to keep my slides between 5 and 7. This one has 15, so I will breeze through, but stop me at any moment. I won't apologize for all the good work that I'm going to report on, so I will go ahead and get us started. So in today's update, I'll cover these things: a progress report on the Inner Harbor renovation project, the Blaine M Dock, which is formerly known as Blaine Boathouse Number 1. I'll refresh you all on the captivating topic of the moorage model, and I'll give you a little overview on where we stand in the market with this moorage rate survey. We'll talk about the upcoming and ongoing web locker audits that we'll be doing, and we'll give you a little update on port security. Before I start that, I would like to recognize all the work that went in, not only to this presentation, but to all the tasks and things I'm reporting on by our harbor staff, our harbor operations staff, and our security specialists. Over the last few months, we've heard a lot about how our fantastic maintenance staff and our ARF operations people have really stepped up to the plate during storm events. During those times, I didn't get an opportunity to recognize Marina staff. They are in the room today. Raise your hands, Marina staff. There's quite a few of them. Just remind folks that our harbor operations, between harbor operations and security, that's a 24/7 operation as well. So appreciate all that work. So some accomplishments we had in 2023. We moved to almost all electronic statements for our customers. We had a few holdouts and people who are coming along a little bit slower at it, but we are working to not have to mail through snail mail anymore. We transitioned to cashless operations in our showers, our laundry, and in our administrative offices. We did it for multiple reasons. Most folks are used to paying by card wherever they go. But in our showers and laundry in particular, we were seeing a lot of theft and vandalism. That has stopped because we've removed those opportunities, and so we're happy with that. We also developed, with Commission's direction, an in-house security specialist program. I do see that our two newest ones, and I'll cover this later in the slide presentation, Peter and Ben, I thought I saw come in. They just started this week. They are numbers 9 and 10 of this program. We also installed Visitor Dock credit card payment kiosks. Our Visitor Docks are located a fair ways away from our admin office. So now if folks come in after hours, they can pay right on the Visitor Dock if we're not open for them to call us. So another kind of customer enhancement that we're proud of. And then this one's probably my most favorite, also probably the least visible to customers, but probably one of, maybe one of internal staff's hopefully favorite programs. So what we did is we're doing Pam Taft really spearheaded this remote electrical pilot project that we're trying on Gate 7, which is our smaller commercial fishing vessel slips. And so our electricians were able to install an attachment onto our power pedestals so that we can upload that information, the power information, to the cloud. Upload, download, I'm not sure which one. Rather than reading it physically, which is what harbor staff does now. They go out and read over 2,000 slips, power pedestals. And so there's a lot of opportunity for mistake there, as well. It's time consuming. We can put them on other tasks outside. It's not one of the most fun tasks. They all do it willingly, but we're really interested to see how this might translate into our new slips with the rebuild. So Inner Harbor renovation. So this is gates 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's kind of those slips over there, kind of in front of the Loft restaurant. I don't have a map this time, I apologize. What we did in 2023 is we gathered preliminary design criteria and did the permitting for sediment sampling and characterization. So that was all completed in 2023. Thanks to Pam and our engineering staff and our consultants. The work we anticipate in 2024, so we have already completed, or they have completed, the sediment sampling and the testing. We expect the results mid-April, and then that will inform our dredge disposal options. We also this year will begin having slip layout discussions for that renovation and have a goal to get to 60% design in 2024.
When you do that sampling, what do you sample for?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Brian, you want to answer that?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. Brian Gowan, Director of Environmental and Planning Services. So it's all the criteria is from the Dredge Material Management Program, which is a kind of multi-agency. They typically have a whole suite of different parameters. It's for disposal. It includes like VOCs, dioxin, furans, metals, all the kinds of things. They're just trying to get an understanding of of what's in that material and where it could go. So based on what's in that, you could put it in a variety of different places. So that's the characterization that they want to see. And then that'll give the team a direction on what's the most cost-effective way to manage that material. And it's sampled all throughout the marina at different depths of where the dredging is going to occur. So it's a good cross-section of and you can then kind of start to isolate certain areas so that area can be disposed of this way. This one can be done that way. So.
And historically, we know what to expect in those areas. I would imagine that we've done enough sampling in previous dredges.
Yeah, it's pretty typical stuff that you'd see. You never know. There could be certain area if there's a boat fire, for example, or something happened in a location that maybe have a little different footprint. There's just the way that the flow throughout the marina happens, the sediment will move around a little bit. So, but it's pretty typical in urban marinas. Is you know what you're going to see. There's areas where you remove areas if there's a MOTCA cleanup site. That's not counted. That's dealt with under MOTCA. So we do have one little footprint where we have like TBT, tributyl tin, from former boatyard operations on the quickie lift over here. But we know the footprint there, and that'll be excluded from that'll be dealt with under MOTCA. Yeah, that's the anticipation. Yeah, that those sediments would be able to be put in the confined disposal facility in the ASB. There is some material that would probably be more cost effective to do open water disposal, just because it could be cheaper. But that's why we're doing this, to find out what's the best way to do it. So almost everything we think should be able to go into the ASB, but some of it, if it's clean enough, may be cheaper to do it otherwise. Good.
Yeah, so staff's been working real hard with Brian's team. Everybody tearing their hair out, trying to get the timing right to time it with the ASB. That's what happened to Brian's hair.
That's what happened.
Just kidding.
Tiffany?
Yeah,
Can you back up a
sure.
slide? Slip layout discussions.
Yep.
Are we at a point where we're having conversations about slip sizing, quantity of slip size? I know we continually have lots of slip demand for large vessels, and that seems to be what is occupying a lot of our transfer requests or berth change requests, or just list of folks who have been on that for sometimes several seasons now. Are we able to accommodate any of these larger crafts, and do you have any kind of feedback for us on market demand for that larger vessel size?
Yeah, so as we're gathering that preliminary design criteria, we have gathered up kind of what we have. We had consultants what they think we need now and what they think where boating is going in the future. So we do have all that information. We don't have that all ready to present in detail. We will definitely be coming to commission to inform you all and ask for direction when we get to that point. I will be covering kind of the market right now and our demand that we have right now in the upcoming slide. So we'll definitely be coming forward and talking about that. We're doing a lot of truth checking now on what we have and what we think we might need. So, okay. Blaine M Dock, that's Blaine Boathouse number 1. Formerly, it's currently now empty. We anticipate this project to begin in the fish window of August 2024 for demo and construction. This replaces the 10 covered moorage slips with 11 open slips for vessels 35 to 50 feet. The design incorporates composite materials for light penetration and easy assembly, so open grading, composite float tubs. And our port facilities team has been working with the project sponsor, Andy, up in Blaine, as well as the project engineer, who is Igor. And also they've all been talking and working together, and the facilities team will be instrumental in helping construct the floats, and then our electricians installing utilities. Pretty excited about that project. Okay, the moorage model. So just a brief overview to try not to get too deep into it. In 2021, we reviewed the moorage model. We reached out to stakeholders. We worked with MAC. We came in front of commission. You did not approve any increases in 2021. I went back, did my homework, learned a whole bunch. And then in 2022, you all adopted the moorage model resolution 1403, which is that table to the right. So those are the increases for the upcoming years. And then in 2026, we'll review again. Rate increases for recreational moorage begin on April 1st. Our customers have been notified via electronic letter. that those rates will be going up, but also they can plan for the future years. They can see transparently where their rates are going to go. At that time, we did not discuss or recommend a rate increase for active commercial fishing. I'm going to show you where we land in the market for that in the next slide. And then our next review will be in 2026. So I'll keep coming forward and reminding you all of this so that when we do get to review time, none of it should be too much of a surprise. Here's where we rate for active commercial fishing, ACF, as we say. For vessels larger than 80 feet, we're third from the lowest in our kind of comparable market, and then we are lowest for vessels under 80 feet. Here's for the recreational side. So each of those boxes has the slip size up in the left. The blue highlighted is where we are today. When our rate increase goes into effect April 1st, we'll be at the orange. So you can see we're scooting closer to the middle of the market, which is what we heard over multiple presentations in feedback from you.
Would you go back to the commercial? I just wanted to see the cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting at about 650 average?
Yep.
Okay. And then go forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so there isn't anybody on any of the morages that are at that 650 rate, even for their lowest.
For recreational.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so here's the next kind of jump in sizes, 45 to 70 feet. That's where we land in the market currently. Now I'm going to show you maybe
Same rate survey for where we fit with commercial fishing?
well, it's just shown differently. I mean, yeah, that is the same
dollar
thing.
figure? Yeah, I guess it's just graphically different.
Mm-hmm. So I threw this in at the last minute just because I read an article about Shilshoe Bay Marina and their rate increases. And so I asked Pam, and she pulled together a graph. So you can see what we did starting in 2018. So the colored bars are the Port of Bellingham's increases in that particular year. So you can see 18, 19, 20, we did 4% across the board. We didn't really take a look at where our wait list was or where our market was kind of fuller than other slips. So we continued to do that. 2021, you guys said no to my proposal. 2022, you can see that we started taking a look at it from a market standpoint. So we looked at supply and demand. And then the dotted line is Shilshoe Bay Marina's rate increases over those same years. So you can see we potentially could begin to fall behind in other marinas if we choose not to look at a CPI. A lot of marinas, all the conferences I go to, I would say, if I had to, I don't want to say a number, but maybe 40% use a CPI model. But we continue to discuss it at all the committee meetings I go to about how marinas in Washington State operate. And these increases, I mean, really often are just driven by aging marina infrastructure. They were all built right around the same time. The regulatory environment is difficult to do anything in the water, and so that's kind of what drives the rate. So that was just a throw-in slide.
Have you seen any impact on the occupancy based on the rates increasing on either commercial or on recreational?
Across the board, people are full. And this next slide shows occupancy for us over the last decade. It's a busy slide, so I'll take a second to describe it. Sorry, everybody, for the long presentation. The bar graph are the Port of Bellingham's occupancy. So the blue is Squalicum, and the gray is Blaine in the bar graph. So you can see Squalicum for the last decade's been in the 90% all along. Blaine's fluctuate a little bit, but the last 3 years, basically since COVID, they've been in 90%. One thing COVID did well was increase the recreational boating market. And then the lines are our wait list. So the dark blue line is Squalicum's wait list, and the dotted line is Blaine's wait list, because we know you guys asked about the wait list every presentation. So we did close Squalicum's wait list last year. And And so you'll see that drop off. We don't have as many. Staff has spent a lot of time truing up those lists as we prepare for the Inner Harbor renovation and a huge logistical lift for moving boats around as we're replacing floats. So doing a lot of deep dive into, do you really want to be on 3 wait lists? And which ones do you really want to be on, and that sort of things, and looking at our rules and regulations for that. So this gives you an idea of kind of where we're at there.
And the reason we're at 77 is because we closed the list.
Correct.
We're not adding new. If we added new, we'd probably still be at 200 plus.
Yeah, we're still adding in Blaine. We've left that one open. And there's always discussion about what you can do about moving, but the fact of the matter is we have a limited resource. We can raise rates and we can begin to discuss about how people use their boats, but nobody ever likes either of those topics. So this is the data for you to sort of synthesize.
And are we still providing differential rates in Blaine and Squamish?
Do we have a different, we do, 4%?
Because I know
3%.
COVID increased boating across the board, but we had set a policy of making Blaine more attractive starting back, I think, in 2019. And I think that is probably responsible for a lot of this increase as well, along with Squalicum being full.
Yeah.
Those all kind of push that occupancy higher there.
Yep. Yeah, so you can see our marinas are full.
And if I remember correctly, we never put a sunset on that Blaine rate differential.
Andy's not here, but I think it was a certain percentage. If we reached a certain percentage, I'll check back and let you know for sure.
Please do.
Yeah.
And then, as long as there's nothing for you to throw at me when I ask this, but I'd like to know, and not tonight, but at some point, just what percentage of our revenue is in each category of a recreational size, and how much revenue are we getting from commercial? I mean, where do they fit in our hierarchy of dollars coming in? Where are we getting the most revenue? We can see the totals, but if we broke it down by sector,
By boat size?
Yeah.
We definitely have it by recreational and by commercial,
got that, yeah.
but you want it by
By size, and then,
Okay.
and then how much does the commercial contribute to the economy?
Okay. Contribute to the economy?
Well, but to the port,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But
If I need clarification, I'll ask you, but I'll get it back to you.
easy to get.
Okay. So a slide on our security specialists. If you will recall, in May 2023, that's when they began operations in both marinas in the evening. So not quite a year ago, we started with 4. As I said, we're at 9 and 10 today. Norm and Dave have done an outstanding job with the training, and both harbor masters as well as harbor operations staff. They have a total of 391 reports filed. You can see that those range from severe to low. There's everything from unlocked web lockers, graffiti, cars, all of that. So we think that it's been an effective training program, and we're very proud of the work that they've been doing. We continue to get really great feedback from all of our customers. So what's upcoming? Talked a little bit about Squalicum staff has been in the process of doing a web locker audit. We want to kind of say it in a public meeting, being transparent about it, see if we can help people come into compliance in their web lockers if they're out of compliance. So they've done a really just a deep dive audit, inventory to each locker, noting approved and non-approved items, and are making contact for fish tickets and working on a process to get that in on a regular basis and help people come into compliance with our rules and regulations. And you can see what the rules and regulations are there by Harbor Rules and Regs Section 6. So working with customers, we're asking folks if they're not in compliance, give Aaron a call and he'll help you get into compliance in your web locker. So that
Tiffany, do we have a wait list for web lockers?
we do have a wait list for web lockers.
Any ballpark of how many
How long
people
it takes?
How long does it take? How many people are on it?
40, about 40 people. That's probably a pretty consistent number, stays about like that. Yeah. And then last but not least, what you can expect to hear from me in 2024. I apparently skipped this update in 2023, which is why it was so long tonight. We'll talk more, as I mentioned earlier, about the Inner Harbor renovation and the mortgage model. I'll keep talking to you about that and giving you information and updating you on the market. And then we'll come to you regularly, as we do toward the end of the year, with any recommended rules and regulation changes. That's it. Any questions?
Commissioner Briscoe.
No questions. I'd just like to say thank you to our Marines Director and all of our staff. You guys are doing an outstanding job. When I first became a commissioner, a little over 8 years ago, my phone was ringing off the wall, basically, for people complaining about this, complaining about that, security, everything. I get very few calls anymore, and when I see people, what I hear is, it's really nice to have security that, they're easy to talk to and they're taking an interest in what's going on around the harbor. We've got harbor masters that are willing to listen to people's problems and work with them. We have marina staff that are helpful. I think we've got one of the better, if not the best, harbors on the West Coast now. We're well thought of up and down the coast. The fishing community likes the fact that we welcome fishermen here and don't deter that. And due to staff and our director, we've come a long ways, and thank you for that.
For the support. I know everybody appreciates the support.
Commissioner Chambers.
So how are we doing on our mortgage model in its expectation of funding the Inner Harbor renovation? Because when we agreed to the last set of increases, most of that was about, we knew things were costing more even when we adopted this, but we were also projecting that we wanted this to be a kind of a self-contained loop of money that was going to fund a pretty expensive and complex project of restoration of that Inner Harbor. Is it doing what it should as a financial model?
We believe so. I wish Tamara was here. Rob, do you have any comment on that? But we believe it continues.
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but we can certainly get back to you on that. They have built up a bigger reserve than they had before, and the pace of that reserve is building at a greater pace than it was before. So I believe we did accomplish what we wanted to. Whether it'll cover the full renovation of the harbor or not, probably not. The cost of doing this stuff is just increasing dramatically, anything in the water.
I don't think we ever intended the mortgage model to cover this. There's no way on earth we could charge our mortgage customers enough to redo this harbor, is the bottom line. We're either gonna have to bond it or we're gonna have to get the shipping terminal making a lot of money. But in my mind, as long as I've been here, we've never intended for the mortgage model to cover the entire rebuild of the harbor and the dredging and everything. It's
Your rates would be the highest one on that chart she showed you. You'd
way
be
over the
right,
highest.
Yeah, so.
But we're trying to make a good buy.
But
we're trying to buy in as much as we can.
We
I
really-
think we accomplished that, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Rob. Yeah, I mean, our model as we develop it and work internally on it, it does remain whole, but some of those numbers we know will increase.
Well, it would be useful for us to start seeing some of that, where we can anticipate the projections on the funding for this replacement and kind of what gulf we're going to be looking at in between what money is coming in and what we anticipate as some of these costs. I imagine some of that's just a lot of predicting, but
Yeah.
it would be useful information for us moving forward.
Okay, that sounds good. Maybe something we can cover in the budget discussions.
Yeah, I think you're correct. A lot of it's going to be a forecast because you're forecasting two things. One is, what's the cost of this going to be? The costs are going to be dependent on the dredge disposals. How do you dispose of the material? What's the new floats going to cost? What's the piling going to cost? What's the dredging going to cost? All those are variables that will have to go into that. But we can have estimates, and we'll definitely cover this during the budget preparations.
I think in our earlier talks about all this, the ASB pond, in addition to being able to use that, dropped it several $1 million.
For sure. Yeah, the disposal, not having to transport it somewhere and then send it to an upland landfill is big.
Well, I think a discussion about what our priorities are is going to have to be done by the commission. And maybe some projects need to be put off for a few years and put down the pike because right now we can't afford to do what we've got on our plate. That's my biggest fear. So that's the discussion I'm looking forward to. Thanks. More? Sorry.
But then you have to ask yourself, can we afford to put it off? Look what's happened in the last 3 years.
That's a discussion point by point as we go through the budget, right? Is this one that we can afford to put off, or is this one we can afford, period? Commissioner Shepard?
Yeah, I guess I would just like to revisit that differential rate in Blaine.
Yes, I will get the,
To have a staff recommendation on how long we keep that. I think we're wanting to balance expectations that customers move to Blaine for with that existing rate. And we don't want to have people feel like we're pulling the rug out from under them with a rate increase that they don't expect. But as we're looking at two harbors both being full, essentially, and costs continuing to go up, I do want to have some recommendations on that.
okay. That sounds good.
Just remember that it's a lot further to drive to Blaine than it is to Bellingham if you live here, so that, and this isn't the first time the rate thing's been. Years and years ago, in late 60s and through the 70s, we had a different, it was quite a bit more. It costs a lot to have a guy come up and work on your engine is almost $100 just to get him there. So there's a reason, if we had the services in Blaine that we have here, same rate might be okay, but I'm not comfortable with telling people the same rates up there and having them go there and then changing it. And due to the cost of mechanics coming and so on and so forth, and having to come here to get parts for your boat to work on it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we do still have the differential. We haven't changed it yet, and we'll certainly notify if there's any discussion if we're looking to go that direction. Any other questions?
Are you done?
I think so.
I think I'm done. I also want to echo that what an incredible staff and what an incredible job you've done since you've taken over. So thank you for the work.
Thanks.
Presentation wasn't that long.
Hey, Mr. McHenry, let's talk about Resolution 1414.
Good evening, Commissioners. Greg McHenry, Senior Planning Analyst for the Port of Bellingham. As you know, at the last commission meeting, we held a public hearing to solicit public comment on the comprehensive scheme of harbor improvement plan that was updated this year. And no comment was received. The last 2 weeks, we've been in a SEPA comment period for the non-project governmental action. And that notifies all the regulatory agencies and tribes of the non-project action. The only comment we received was from the Lummi Nation Historic Preservation Office. And they acknowledged receipt of the comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements and the SEPA checklist, and did not wish to provide any comment at this time, but does wish to be notified on a specific project by project basis. Other than that, no comments were received. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Commissioner Briscoe? Commissioner Shepard?
No additional questions for me.
Carrie, would you read
Yeah.
the?
So motion to approve the Sea Ship Resolution 1414.
You already said you didn't have any comments. So did you. I have no comments.
We're in agreement then.
All, Commissioner Briscoe, would you vote?
Yes.
Also, yes.
Commissioner Bell is a yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
I just have trouble ending a commission meeting at 4:30 in the afternoon. So I'm just dragging it on. All right, so we're at the end of the meeting, and I will ask for anybody else that might have a public comment that may have come up through this process.
We're in trouble now.
Dan with the Working Waterfront Coalition. Just wanted to say again, thank you to the amazing Marina staff for helping us with our bulletin board. So, Bobby, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a bulletin board now, just like at the Alaska docks, at the head of it, where fishermen can post their crew on it or equipment or whatever. So, we just wanted to really say thank you to the Marina staff for helping push that through and get that done. And then also, we've heard from several of our members as well about being on a wait list for web locker space. So, anything we can do to help think about that, let me know.
We come up with about 3.5 or 4 million for a new web locker, we'll pop it right up.
Riley Sweeney. I just wanted to note on the consent agenda, there was funding for the City of Ferndale Wayfinding Project. I worked on that darn thing for like 4 years. Thank you for funding it. It's really important, and I'm so glad to see it actually happening. So thank you.
Lisa Adam. I want to thank the Port Commissioners for the letter that was sent to ABC Recycling and putting them on notice for their violations of their lease agreement. I appreciate that, especially the exceedances of pollution was important personally for me. As I've been in Bellingham now for a number of years, I've learned about how polluted this bay is. We actually a couple times went crabbing in the bay, which we will not do any longer, unfortunately. Anyways, I'm working with resources now to help stormwater testing. So that's been interesting. I'm learning a lot, and I'm trying to give my time to this community as well. So I thank you for that, and I really just hope you keep the community apprised of kind of how that's going with ABC and what you guys are finding out as you work as port commissioners on that, holding their feet to the fire.
Thank you for that. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anybody online? Just raise your hand and we'll acknowledge you. I guess it's not really raising your hand. It's push the button with the little wavy hand. Nobody online? All right. With that, what I'd like to do now is recess into an executive session.
What about other business? I didn't say I had any, I just said, what about it?
Then there is that. Other business, Commissioner Shepard.
Sure, I've got a couple. I wanted to start by congratulating the team from Millworks, Mercy Housing, Whatcom Community Foundation, Dawson Construction, also Corex, and all the staff who have been involved in making possible that project, which now has a temporary occupancy permit. It's a really big milestone to have doors opening and people moving in to the first new construction on the waterfront. So very excited about that, and thanks for all the hard work there. Lots of different players involved in making that happen, and nice milestone. I got to tour it, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and it's a really nice quality building. Nice units, it's gonna be great for families, lots of amenities. The ground floor childcare is really nicely designed, just very welcoming space, so looking forward to that. Carrie, it's nicer weather, and that makes me think of the Portal Village and hanging out at the waterfront district. Tell us what we should be expecting with the season. When are we going to start, and what's going to be new at the Container Village?
Yeah, so May 3rd is when all the tenants are gonna kick off. So they all have a little different schedules, but you can pretty much count on, if you go from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., you can get food, beer, ride the pump track, play some mini golf. But if you're going to play golf, just make sure to click on the link on our website and check their hours, because theirs is a little different than the other businesses.
Wouldn't it be nice to say, let's put that reader board up that explained all that, right where people could see it?
Well, it's complicated. We haven't given up
So
on
they
it yet.
say.
But I would like to give a shout out to our new tenants this year, which is Zeke's Pizza and Bin 13, which is a wine bar. And then we're also bringing online one more retail shop. And the retail shop, the new one by Colshan, and the first one is like 95% full.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool every week. And you can go onto our website and see all the businesses and have hyperlinks, so you can go to their sites and you can shop just from that link. But we're hoping that you show up.
What are they retailing?
Excuse me?
What are they retailing?
Oh, I mean,
Is it
soap,
a convenience store?
pottery,
Stuff.
It
Jewel-
rotates.
jewelry.
It rotates. It changes every 2 weeks. So you could have someone in there selling hats this week, and they
Every
could be
week, yeah.
every week. Okay, so every week.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so May 3rd, that's when we should expect most businesses to be open for the season. Is that what you
Yes.
said? All right, great. And a new restroom, too. I heard some excitement about that, right?
Well, the new restroom isn't going to be ready May 3rd, but
okay.
about the middle of May, we're doing the best we can. But since I'm talking, I'd like to do a quick shout out. April 27th is April Brews Day, and it's the biggest one in our area. There's going to be thousands of people, over 30 different breweries, and I hope that you guys show up.
What'd you call that, Thirsty Thursday?
April Brews Day, and it's a Saturday. Last Saturday of April.
Fundraiser for Max Higby Center, I believe. Yeah, good one. Okay. I just have,
Just to
oh,
follow
go
up with
ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
Are they using the pump track already? I mean, I would imagine with the good weather, they're out there.
Yeah, people have been on it. It's gotten some use. We got to do a little refresh of it. It saw some wear this winter. People rode it in the snow. Someone drove on it in the snow. We had actually vehicle tracks all over it in the snow. So the snow made it really easy to get over the barricades that keep you from doing that, and they took advantage of that. So we got a little work to do, but it's in rideable condition, and it's been being ridden. And we'll get out there in the next month or two and tune it up a little. And Mike, when are we adding the Strider bike line?
Commissioners, Mike Hogan, Public Affairs Administrator. Yes, so beginning in middle of April, we're working with WMBC and adding a beginner line for kids to the bike park. One of the things we see is you get the big guys and race and pass all the little kids that love it. So this will be just a separate area for the little kids with some different fun features for them to go through. So from mid-April to mid-May, we're going to be building that with WMBC and have it open for when school gets out.
That's a good idea. Wish they do that on the ski slopes. Because when those little guys go right by you, stick your pole out.
So you want the old guy center?
Yeah.
You want the Rod Center, the real old dude?
Showed up.
That's called the Lodge.
They've got a lower center of gravity, so they don't have to worry about the fall as much.
Let's see, what else do I have on my list here? Kip, do we have a new flight to announce from Alaska? Do we have a third daily flight coming soon?
Started last Thursday. I took it on Friday.
Yeah, there you go. Kip Turner, Director of Aviation. As Rob just said, it started last Thursday. So, yep, it's the second flight of the day. So it'd be around 6 in the evening, I think, 6 something in the evening out of BLI, and then back in around 7. If I got my times right, I didn't, somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's the evening flight, so it's a good connection point for the night flights, and also a good traveling connection point for coming back in. So
And that's
yep,
Alaska?
it is. Yep. So it puts them back to 3 daily. Trying to climb back up to where we were with them before. I think they had one time we're at 5 daily. Yep. So
You got to work on them for the direct out of here to Anchorage.
yeah. All right. I'll put it on the queue.
Nothing new from Southwest while we got you at the mic?
Well, we do have the added Denver service that will be starting in June, but we've recently announced that. But I want to promote it as much as we can since I'm at the mic. So yeah, I believe that's June the 2nd, if I recall correctly. and it'll be twice on Saturday, and then once on Sunday during the season. So we're ramping that up from one time last year. We just had one flight a week last year on Saturday. So now we've got 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, starting June 2nd.
Is there an expectation that if we fill those weekend slots, that they'll give us a midweek?
That's usually how this goes. If you have success and you can show that you're continuing to build the flights and build the routes, they usually work that well. We've got over a 92% load factor on those Denver flights. So if we have the kind of success with these added 2 daily these added 2 flights, 2 weekly flights that are added, I think our argument's pretty strong. We've been making the argument pretty strong. I was in Dallas not long ago making the argument for 7 for a daily Denver, and their interest is parked on that. So we definitely have the interest, and I think if we can show them we can fill these flights this summer, we'll be better poised for that.
Can't wait.
So, thanks.
Thank you. My last one was, Brian, any update on our BST project? Dredging is complete. Where do we see the next phases of the shipping terminal upgrade and modernization project?
Yeah, so that thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, that project was bid as a whole multi-phase project. So the first phase of dredging was completed just really at a really short window of the in-water work window that was allowed us to get work done right at the face of the dock. And then now our engineering team and the BST team's all working with American Construction, which was already anticipated to be a multi-season project, and kind of now gearing up for what's the plan for next phase of work. They can start some of the demolition work, taking out portions of the dock, preparing for the dredging. So all of that is in the queue right now. So it's going to really be from the opening of the fish window in August, and before that, there'll be some work that can be done on the upland that'll carry us all the way through the closure of the fish window in February of next year. So a lot of work ahead, a lot of coordination, and working really closely with the existing tenants, with McAmis and loadouts, and how all that can be coordinated. So it's underway, and it's we're American Construction's great outfit, and we're now just waiting for the fish window to open up for next year.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
That's all.
A couple things. Go. One, Carrie's going to help me on this one. We've got at the Fisherman's Pavilion, we've got a job fair, if I'm not incorrect, coming up.
Yes.
Can you give us dates and a little info on it?
Yep, so the job fair is May 9th. It's from 10 to 1. We have 35 plus businesses participating. KISS is going to be doing a food demo, and Debbie Granger has about 5 activities lined up, including dock walks.
Just for clarification, KISS is Keep It Simple Seafood. It's not the band.
Though the food's so good, your tongue might be hanging out, so,
Nice comeback. And we get a lot of participation from the local schools in Whatcom County, do we?
Yep. I asked Corey Olson from Economic Development to help me this year. So using my past experience, her resources, and she's been a driver to get more schools and going farther south. And our numbers should be about triple what they were last year, is what we're expecting.
And maybe just for clarification for the people that watch this on YouTube, what's this all about?
Well, this is just a reach out to high schoolers, college, just young adults or middle-aged adults that just want a career change. And we want to be able to help them have that path, and also to just teach them a little bit about what a day on the water and the marine trade industry is like.
That's good. And, this day and age, I know our young folks, I've got a grandson that's 20, and our young folks have a lot of difficulty finding direction or finding a job that's interesting. And this is going to help a lot of people, I think. And
Not everybody fits in the same box.
No, they don't. Not everybody fits in the same thing. But thank you to you and the staff that helped put it together. And so I hope a lot of people come out and maybe anybody that's listening or people here in the audience, pass that along to young folks, you know, that they can come down, take a look, and maybe find something they're interested in to do. It isn't just fishing, it's a lot of other things, so.
Yep, and we have information on the port website on the main page, if you scroll down to about the middle of the page.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Question for you, Brian. I've been asked twice in the last 2 weeks about public comment period on the ASB. If there's a time frame within 3, 6, 8 months, you could tell me that it might be happening so I could answer that question.
And just for clarification, are you talking about when we're talking about the land use change for the cleanup and the
Yeah,
redevelopment?
for whatever we're gonna do with
Okay.
it.
Okay, I
at
didn't know
that
if there was
point.
like a specific, like a permit or something. No, yeah. So, yeah, we're right now in the middle of just starting to launch a lot more engagement. There's not going to be a formal public comment period.
Okay.
We are starting staff or been reaching out to marine trades folks, meeting with our existing tenants. I went to the Blue Drinks with the Working Waterfront Coalition to start to kind of get the word out that we're starting to plan on some transitions in the ASB, the cleanup, and then the land use stuff we're working with the city. So over the course of the next year, we're going to be doing a lot more of that. We'll probably have an open house here. We'll work with that. So it'll be ongoing. We'll be getting the word out a variety of different ways. And you can always point people that have questions to me. You know, we're happy that we're actually trying to engage that right now. So anybody has questions, feel free to send them my way.
Okay,
Yeah.
will do.
Great.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet.
I'm through, thank you.
An executive session. Expect the executive session to last about 20 minutes to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. Public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in adverse or legal financial consequences to the agency. We did not write that. That is directly from the RCW 42.30.110, which is the reason why it isn't in English. But we are going to go speak about some consequences. It will last 20 minutes. We will then return to this body, reopen the public meeting for any other business that may occur. Thank you. 30 minutes. Any of you who wish to go home may do so. close the executive session and reopen the public meeting. And we are going to adjourn the public meeting for the Port of Bellingham Commission.